Hi Stampers, welcome. We're using a new stamp set out of the holiday catalog. We're using the Gnome for the holidays on page 23. That's this setup here. And I'm still waiting for my box that has my designer series paper, so I apologize, I've got some retired stuff here, but there is some adorable new plaid in the new catalog. So we're going to learn how to make that little guy pop in and out of the card. We're going to start out with our card base, which is 4 1/4 by 8, scored at 5 1/4 and 6 1/4. Now I'm pretty sure you could make this, 8 1/2 if you wanted. You could make it 4. You can change up the way that you cut this, but basically this is 4 1/4 by 8 because I wanted to be able to match it to this one. So this is 8 by 2 1/4. And all we're doing is we're taking and making these the same size. So if you did 8 1/2 or you did 9 1/2, you want to make it the same length, but mine would be 8 inches and 8 inches. And then I came in and scored at 1 3/4 and 2 3/4, which is kind of the equivalent of what this is. I went over and scored at 5 1/4 and 6 1/4, but the same idea is you're going to take whatever you did this way and you're going to do it this way. So that's how it's going to fold together. Does that make sense? You follow me with that? So 4 1/4 by 8, scored at 5 1/4 and 6 1/4. Then I've got the 8 by 2 1/4, scored at 1 3/4 and 2 3/4. And since that's going to go this way, I'm going to need little pieces that are going to fit up here. So this is 1 7/8 by 5/8. And I cut it out of the same paper so that my design continues. So if you do have a design, you might want to consider cutting the strip, like right after it so that the design continues to flow. But this one is 1 7/8 by 1 5/8. And this is 1 7/8 by 7/8. Then in the background, we're going to have 4 1/8 by 5 1/8. And that's just in a whisper white. And then we're going to have a little piece that we're going to use as our wiper mechanism. And this is going to be 1 1/2 by 1 3/4. And then we're going to come in, and I'm going to show you here. I don't know if you want to screenshot that or write it down, make yourself notes. But basically what I did is I came up from the bottom 7/8 of an inch, and then I made a little mark, and then I came across this way 7/8 and made a mark. Now this was going up the long side, so this is the 1 3/4 side, and then 1 1/2 I made another mark. So up from the bottom 1 1/2 and make a mark. Now for the ones that went from the 7/8 up to the 7/8 over, that's going to be a score line. So you can either score that in your trimmer, or I set my ruler down and then used my bone folder and then just made sure that it was good and folded. I want it very flexible. Then for the one that goes from the 1/4 inch down to the corner, that one we're going to cut off. So this one's getting folded and this other one's going to get cut. Now this is the most complicated this card gets, is this tiny little piece. And really it's not that complicated. You just need to slow down and think about it and you'll get it. And it doesn't even really need to be exact, because you'll find out once we start adhering things, we're going to snip off little pieces anyway that get in our way. So not a big deal. Then for the front of the card, I used our stitched rectangles. So that's this set of dies here. I use them a lot. I love my basic shapes. My ovals, circles, squares, rectangles, I use them a lot. And the new embossing machine is the Stampin' Up! Cut and Emboss. So I'm going to go ahead and load all 3 of these on here at once. Some people think they have to run them one at a time, but you can really, as long as you've got extra dies in the room, load up as many as you need. And then I'm going to take the plate number 3 and put that over the top, and then just run it through. So here's our 3 rectangles. So as you can see, I used the oblong ones from the side, the 2, 3, and 4. Here's our adorable little gnome set. Isn't that cute? So we're going to start out by stamping on the white for our card. I'm going to stamp this background back here. And so since I'm going to color it with Stampin' Blends, I'm going to come in with Memento Black ink. And let's see, I've already stamped the little dude who's going to pop up because I fussy cut him. So he's already ready to go. But we need our little house. Bigger stamps, because this is a little bigger than the pad, not much, but a little. I mentioned with the big stamps, you can choose to either ink that way, or you can take and flip it over and ink this way. Both ways work. Now I'm going to try to get this off the edge up here, because I want it to look like the tree, you know, continues up. Yay! Okay, so there's our little house. And then I'm going to stamp the little girl gnome. And then we'll do some quick and easy coloring with our Stampin' Blends. You can do a little bit of accenting and come in with the dark. So hopefully you've placed an order with me or are on my team so that you're on my Christmas card list. Have you guys thought about what other cards you'd like to see me do? I'd love some ideas from you guys. If you've seen something on Pinterest or out there that you want to learn how to do, or you want to see how I would do it, let me know. I'd be happy to make it for you. And it's not blending really well for me, and the reason is I did too big of an area. The way that the Stampin' Blends work is while they're still wet is when they blend. So if you've colored an area and then gone away from it for too long before you go back with your next color, they're not going to blend as well. So just keep laying down more ink till it's good and wet, and then it'll start blending. So best to relax and not be in a hurry, as I am. Okay, this is my little box of my Stampin' sponges. I'm going to pull out a Seaside Spray and Old Olive and just do a little sponging around them. You could also do this with sponge daubers. I find that the stamping sponges they're more airy, there's more holes in them, they're not as dense, so it's a little bit lighter coloring. Okay, now I don't really need to go all the way down because that's going to be covered up. So that should be done. So now we can start assembling our little card. So this part's pretty basic, and I've only got an 1/8 of an inch border, which is why I'm using my liquid glue. But now we're going to take our little wiper piece, this in here this way, and he's going to pop up here. You need a little piece of acetate. So that one's up quite a bit higher. Let's see. And if you have any extra glue popping out, that's where these adhesive erasers come in handy. I picked these up at the dollar store. They're also at other craft stores, but they come in very handy. Let's see what I'm looking at here. There we go. how he's going to come up. So when the card's all the way open, the thing's up like this, and then when it closes, it'll come down. Okay, you got that? What pushes it is this piece. So that's why the little piece hangs over. That's what pushes him down. But then when it opens up, he can pop up. Make sense? You following me here? So he's just going to bury himself down into there. And this is where I was saying, you know, if it hung out a little at the bottom or hung out a little bit at the top, at this point you can chip off these corners with your paper snips, no problem. So if it sticks out a little bit here or sticks out a little bit out here, just whack it off. As long as we've got this little part that's folding here, we're good. So all we have left to do now is adhere it down to our card. And I'm going to do that by just adhering on the two sides. So I'm going to put some down here, and then I'm going to line up with the edge and the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And there we go. That part's all ready. See, not as complicated as you thought, right? So that one I just stuck down with adhesive. We'll go ahead and stamp our greeting. There's no place like Gnome for the holidays. And then all we have to do is adhere that with some dimensionals. See, not as tough as you thought. Good. That's what I was trying to get through to you guys, is some of this stuff people get all intimidated thinking, oh, that's too hard. And it's my job to help make it easy for you. Don't forget, when you're using your Stampin' Dimensionals, use all the way around the edge. Everything on the whole paper can be used. Don't throw it away once you've used all the little circles in the middle. So there we go. There's our finished card. And it's a little different than this one. You'll notice I have this little circle up in the corner. That's because I stuck my thumb in an ink pad and it ended up in the corner. So I just covered it up. I took the lazy way out of that one. But aren't they cute? I can't wait till my new designer series paper comes in and I can do it with something current. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, my name is Lisa. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I appreciate your business. And if you place an order through me, you not only get a thank you card from me, but you will also get a free PDF on how to make 6 different cards if you use my hostess code for the month. And that PDF is different every month. So just a few tips, and I will see you next Monday right here on Facebook Live. Thanks. Bye.